I'm doing a video real fast to talk to you about how to keep your hair during chemo. I've got this, so I got to figure out where to look. I have 2 cameras set up, so I'm trying to do it on YouTube and on Facebook Live. So forgive me if I'm doing strange things. My name is Julie Mitchell. I just finished 16 rounds of chemo. I had 12 weeks of a chemo drug called Taxol, and that was weekly. And then I had 4 treatments of every other week doing something called AC, which is a different kind of chemo. AC is a lot harder than Taxol. And I did it in that order, Taxol and then AC, because I'm going to MD Anderson in Houston. That's how they do it. But I'm getting my chemo at Baylor in Dallas, and they were willing to do it in that order, though a lot of times they do AC first and then Taxol. So I was talking to a friend when I was first diagnosed, and she said that she knew of someone that had kept their hair during chemo by using something called a scalp cooling system or a chemo cold cap. It's kind of hard to find information about it, and so I want to share with you in this video how it worked. So this is what my hair looks like after 16 treatments. You can see all my nice gray hairs. During this process, you cannot color your hair or cut your hair. So it is like this. You can see, I mean, it is thin. It is thinned out, certainly. I've probably lost 30% maybe, but I was able to, keep at least some of it. So if you don't want to watch the whole video, I just want to tell you these 4 things for you. The first is called scalp cooling or cold capping. Scalp cooling system is called Paxman, and it actually plugs into the system at chemo centers. And then I had to switch to chemo cold caps when I did the AC treatment. I was able to get through Taxol treatments, the 12 weeks using Paxman. That one is really pretty easy. It does not get as cold as it has to be to keep your hair for AC treatment. So that's when I had to switch to the chemo cold caps. You can easily find both of those online. Paxman is Paxman, and then chemo cold caps is, you can find it pretty easily. There's an amazing nonprofit organization called Hair to Stay. And they helped me pay not only for the Paxman, but also for the chemo cold cap. They're out of San Francisco. They're wonderful. They were really on top of things. You just have to apply, and you have to tell them a little bit about your situation and your income. And then the other thing I want to tell you, in case you don't watch the whole video, there's something called chemohairandskin.com. They're products by Daniel Field, and I found this very helpful. I didn't discover them until I started doing the AC treatment, and I wish that I had found them before. So let me start from the top. Scalp cooling system. This is Paxman. This was, friends, I wish I could remember. It was over $1,000. I just can't remember how much. And like I said, Hair to Stay helped me pay for it. They paid a big chunk of it. They also, Hair to Stay and Chemo Cold Caps Paxman and Chemo Cold Caps have a deal with Hair to Stay where you get a 30% discount. So between the 30% discount and them covering a lot of it, it really saved me tons of money. So the Paxman system works like this. They also send you shampoo and conditioner. I did not love their shampoo. I felt like you have to have shampoo that's sulfate free and all that stuff, but I feel like their shampoo didn't do anything. So I ended up using a different one, which I'll tell you about. But this is what it looks like, if I can get it out of the bag here. Oh no, it's stuck. It looks like something out of the movie Alien. So this ends up going on your head during treatment, and then it plugs into a machine at the infusion center. So not every infusion center has these. You have to check to be sure. It was really interesting because at MD Anderson, they only let you use this system with one particular kind of chemo medication. because studies show it works. There have only been studies with that one medication. So they told me, especially I think once I switched to AC, they would not have let me do this at MD Anderson because it takes time in the infusion room, and they're trying to save lives, which is understandable. But they did let me do it at Baylor. So this goes on your head. This plugs in. It has a little coin here thing. This is like, it's almost like Apple Pay or something. It has so many sessions on there, and each time you do a session. So for me, in theory, there were 12 on there. And so each time I had a session, it ran. After 12 sessions, it doesn't cost you any more money. So that's helpful. It costs you so much per session up to 12, and then they don't charge you anymore after that. And then this little cap goes on top of it. So you're sitting there in the infusion room, and everyone is staring at you as you're doing this. There's no shame or privacy during this process. So you have to be prepared for that. The second one I had to use once it switched to the AC treatment was called Chemo Cold Caps. It looks like this. You get 6 of them. That's just the insert that goes in it. But this fits on your head. You have to strap it on. And then this crazy monstrosity that I keep saying looks like the purple pie man from what was that called, Marcus? That cartoon, red with Strawberry Shortcake cartoons. Again, it's like, oh my goodness, you couldn't make this a little bit smaller because you are in a room in front of everybody, but it is what it is. So for Chemo Cold Caps, they send you a giant, sorry, I have chemo brain. What's, Marcus? They send you a cooler, and it has everything that you need in it, including scissors, foam to protect your skin. It has everything that you need. It is a big cooler. I mean, like one you would take tailgating. It's big. And you have to purchase 80 pounds of dry ice to go in it. So you get 4 slabs of 10-pound ice, and then you do ice pellets around it. They also give you a little pulley system to put it on to move it with. But for the Paxman, I really think that you could probably do it yourself. But for the Chemo Cold Cap, there's no way that you could do it by yourself. My husband was my partner in that step of the process. So there's a place in Dallas called Emergency Ice. If you're in the Dallas area, they give an incredible discount. The first time we went to do the Chemo Cold Cap, we went to the grocery store and bought dry ice, and it cost us about $130. And then when we went to the place in Dallas, it cost us about $25. They give a really big discount for chemo patients. So make sure that you say you're doing chemo if that's part of your process. So we would go early in the morning. You have to freeze those for Chemo Cold Cap 3 hours before your treatment. But the thing I have discovered about chemo is it was usually from the time I got there and got my labs to the time I actually started infusion. So I would get my labs, see the doctor, and start infusion. It was usually at least 2 hours anyway. So we would just go about an hour early, get the ice, and then drive over to the hospital, and it was plenty of time. So Paxman is easy. It plugs in. I was so worried about the pain of it. I asked my doctor, she put me on Ativan, so I would take Ativan through my port first, and then I would pretty much just sleep through the process. The Paxman has to go on 30 minutes before your treatment, and the Chemo Cold Cap has to be about 50 minutes before your treatment. The Chemo Cold Caps, it comes with 6 of them. Again, it's this thing. So you have 6 of these. They all go in a cooler, and then you trade them out. At first, you have to trade them every 15 minutes, and then you have to trade them every 20 minutes. It's really overwhelming at first when they sent us the video. Marcus and I looked at each other and we're like, I don't know if we want to take this on. But at that point, we'd already done 12 weeks of saving my hair, so we just went for it. The other thing about the Chemo Cold Caps is, so you do it 50 minutes beforehand, changing it every 15 minutes. Then you switch to changing it every 25 minutes, but you have to go 5 hours after your treatment. So we had an hour drive to chemo. So my husband would set his alarm. We would put the cooler where I could reach it from the back seat, and I would have to change it out twice on the way home. And then because of the Ativan, I would just sleep through the rest of the day. And so my poor spouse woke me up every 22 minutes to change it out. So that one is a big commitment, but usually AC treatment is a shorter amount of time, like 4 to 6 weeks. So we committed to it, and it worked out for us, at least so far. I finished chemo last Thursday, so I will lose a little bit more hair. It definitely comes out, especially in the shower. You can only wash your hair about every 3 days, and it certainly falls out, but it does not come out in big clumps. It just kind of comes out all over. I want to tell you about I did not discover these products until I was in the AC part, the second half, but they've been super helpful. They're Daniel Field products. It's called chemohairandskin.com if you're in the US. He has a UK version too. Let me grab these real fast. Okay, so the first thing is, and if you use the Chemo Cold Caps, which by the way are about like $350 a month, maybe $250 or $350 a month to rent them. They send you all of it in the mail, and you keep the box and then send it all back. So Daniel Field has this scalp cooling system. There's 2 bottles that you use actually during treatment. One goes on like a spray with a spray bottle, and then the other one goes on, it's almost like a conditioner, just it's supposed to protect your hair. So I use those only with the AC treatment. I wish I had known about them during Paxman, because I think it would have really helped. And then I have this. I do not, by the way, make any money from them. I'm not I'm not selling these products, but I did find them really helpful. I got the Hair Growth Active, looks like that, the hydrating shampoo, and the special detox treatment. I especially felt like this one was really helpful to me, because when I was doing the Taxol and I didn't have these products, my scalp was really painful a lot of times. And when I started using these products, it was not painful anymore. Now it is scary again, because a lot of hair comes out when you shower, but I do feel like these products helped. And prior to that, like I said, I didn't like the shampoo from Paxman. I just got this Away frequent use shampoo. It's expensive, but it lasted me the whole time, especially because you're only washing every few days. And I got this Away conditioner called Curly Mask, hair mask. And those don't have any parabens or anything like that. And I felt like those were helpful. Trying to think if there's anything else. The pain, so if I had not been taking the Ativan, I think the pain, the big thing for me was nausea. The Chemo Cold Caps make me really nauseous, but with the Ativan and the other stuff I was taking for the chemo treatments, it was fine. I survived it. Again, I only had to do it 4 times. My husband had to talk me into it, because again, they send the video. It's very hard to find information about it online. Then they send you the video and you're like, oh, this feels so overwhelming. But really, for both products, you just take it one step at a time, and you can do it. The Paxman, I really do think I could have done it myself, because you just put it on at the beginning and you leave it there. But they did let my husband help me set it up. He wasn't allowed to stay in chemo, but he could come help me with it and then leave. And then for the Chemo Cold Cap, he had to be with me the whole time, because it involves an 80-pound cooler with all the equipment and changing every 20 minutes. So he really was my hero through the process. So everybody is different. I was very surprised how much I did not want to lose my hair. If you can tell just by looking at me, I don't wear a lot of makeup. I don't do fancy hairdos or anything, but I found that it was the thing I was most emotional about. And going through this process of keeping it, I think just really gave me some tiny sense of control. Like there was one part of this treatment process that I had control over. So that I'm happy I did it. But again, you can't use hair color, you can't get your hair cut, there's no products. So your hair just looks like what it does. And but right before I started treatment, I got my hair cut to chin length. That has not grown at all, as you can tell, over 5 months. I was happy with this length because it still had a little bit of fullness, so that you can't tell quite how much I lost. I think if it was longer, it would have been more obvious how thin it's gotten. And if it was shorter, I think it would have been more obvious. So I was happy with that part of it. And I hope that if you have any questions about it, you'll reach out to me. It is an investment of time and effort. I found it was nice kind of to get to focus on that part of it and not so much on the chemo and how, it made me feel. I hope you never need this information. And I hope no one you know ever needs it, but just in case, there it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bless you, and may you be well.